Stand for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Trustee Cox?
Here.
Trustee Foley?
Yes, ma'am. Here.
Trustee Hopkins?
Here.
Trustee Royer?
Here.
And Supervisor Allen?
Here. To get the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. So moved. Motion by Mike. Second. Second.
I just want to make a comment on just a couple things, maybe we can make the changes. I just feel like the audience members' comments were cherry-picked a little bit.
But you know...
And anyway, some look better and worse, and it's, you know, I'm not going to go through it, but there's a couple things that maybe we can change. One is Phyllis Strauskis. His big point when he was standing up talking, and again, the reason it's important is people take time out of their night to come here, and so, you know, put it in there. His big point was about the meeting room, and that he thought it was even illegal because it was so small, and, you know, and so I just feel like that needs to be in there, because there's other things about somebody being a rat and everything else in there, but at least put that in there, you know, so I just think that should be included. Also, I know that everybody thinks I talk too much, but it's only 3 lines in here with, it doesn't say that, you know, I provided the board with the comparables that I showed everybody. Has no mention about how we got to that point. I just thought that could be in there as well. And one thing I do want to mention here at the end, Trustee Hopkins voted no on, that was on the motion about paying the bills, and then it actually stated a reason. I agree. I love that. I've been trying to.
Bill.
It was the payroll.
It was the company we hired.
Right.
We only had 1 bid.
I agree.
No competitive bid, that's why I voted.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is for a year and a half, I've been asking, because I vote no on a lot of things, but it never is in the minutes. And I don't, you know, I want it to be like how you have it. So I just wanted to make that comment. If you don't want to change it, that's fine. But it's just a minute.
I don't have a problem. The only thing I want to say, if you look back on the previous minutes, I have been most careful to put in there the reason you object.
Oh, okay.
Because
Well,
I
great.
knew you objected to
So-
not having that.
I'd like to make a comment about the comparables and stuff like that. It should have never been brought out in open meeting because it was behind closed session when we discussed about getting comparables and stuff like that, and he brought it out in open meeting after we came back from closed session, which is illegal to do.
Mike, it is absolutely not. That is
Yes,
what
it-
we need. We
No,
need to
you
know what the
can't.
other townships.
No, you can't.
Well, let's
When
settle
it's
down.
called
Freedom of
Something's in
information.
closed session, when anything's in closed session, you cannot bring it out. It does not come out till 6 months later.
What are you talking about?
When you brought out those comparables.
The comparable from the Wood River Township and the Edwardsville Township?
You can't bring that out.
Yes,
That was
you
talked
can.
about in closed
That-
session.
Well,
No.
let's break this now. Let's get into the meeting, okay?
So you don't want the public to know what the other townships
Yes, I
are
want
payroll
them to
is?
know, but it's got to be by the statute.
No, it's.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Lawyer.
If our
Settle
lawyer
down
got it
now.
wrong, then our
Settle
lawyer
down.
would tell us.
Agree to disagree, please.
Everybody done?
So, are we gonna try to change any of that, or?
I will this time, Derek, but you
All right,
know,
I
I
appreciate
can't
it.
put verbatim.
No, I agree. I don't want it to.
Truthfully, I'm not even supposed to put hardly any of it.
That's all I'm
I
asking.
just
I
been
just think
trying
it's
to
fair to
comment.
some of the people to make
So
comments.
go back and tell me again what you want to.
Just change at least Phyllis Strauskis' comment, because I think people's like, wow, how did they switch rooms? And that was a big deal.
That wasn't done in one night, though, so.
Yeah, I've been pushing for a year and a half, and I'm glad we're here, and so, that was a lot to do with it that evening. So anyway, just change that and I'm fine.
There has to
I'm
be,
on.
there's gotta be a motion to.
I motion to amend the minutes to add the comment about, Phyllis Strauskis wanting to change the rules.
We get a second?
We have a motion to approve the minutes, it's read, we need to probably, gotta deal with that, so.
I'll hold my motion.
To approve the minutes?
I'll retract my second. And you can make the motion to approve this amendment.
We got a motion and approve?
Yeah, approve
In a
as
second?
amended. I'll approve as amended.
Let
Okay.
Derek make the motion, I'll second. Approve
Okay.
as amended.
Roll call.
All right. Trustee Cox,
Yes.
trustee Foley,
No.
trustee Hopkins,
Yes.
trustee Royer,
No.
supervisor Allen.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Public comments. Any comments from the public? Yes, sir.
Were you standing up or were you okay? Yes. Podium,
Yeah,
please.
I think you're loud enough.
No, approach the podium.
First off,
We do?
Oh, yeah, we got to use the podium, yes.
here I go. I know this don't work, right?
No, there's nothing in there.
First off, I would like to thank this board for getting the hell out of that meeting room. My goodness, what would we have done tonight? I mean, geez, thanks.
That's fine.
I really appreciate it, I know the people sitting here tonight appreciate that. This deal with the laborers and Mr. Royer sitting as a trustee, I just cannot buy that. He can't sit on any meeting. What is to keep him from informing the laborers of what they're going to accept? I just don't think that's right. That's a huge, huge conflict of interest. I think that ought to be taken care of. Either he sits in on none of that, or any of the discussion, or basically, I think he ought to resign, because this whole thing stinks. My other issue that I brought up last meeting night was bylaws. I hope within 2 weeks we made a step to have a meeting, discuss this, either by the board or in public session. As far as our hiring practices, I mean, I would like to know what they are now. I would like to know if there's sick pay for people that work for the township now. What is the vacation plan? Do they get more years or more weeks of vacation after 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Do they have family leave? And the statement in regard to the comparables, what the heck is wrong with that? I mean, the comparables that anybody can look up, we almost spend twice as much money as any other township in Madison, St. Clair County. I mean, this is something to be looked at. We are all taxpayers. But I would like to see, hold a, either in closed session or something, but do something about these bylaws. There is nothing in the thing that I got from the attorney as far as how we run this township at all. And it just can't be by your, grabbing your pants and saying, well, we gotta do this time. But I would like to see what the policy is. And if you can comment on what the policy is today, as in regard to pay, vacation, sick time, any of that, I would like to know that. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll try to answer your questions at the end when we all.
Anybody else in public comments? Yes, sir. Who are you?
Robert Milo, 1352 Franklin Avenue. I didn't come to the last meeting, but I did watch it on the podcast, or whatever you call it. And I heard somebody say, well, I just can't believe that, why do they want to join a union? Well, I mean, honestly, when you hire a new senior center director and you come right out the gate and you give her $10,000 raise, you might as well take these other ladies out here and just smack them right in the face, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I mean, what did you expect them to do? Sit on their hands? I mean, some of these women worked over here for over 10 years. I mean, I heard, well, she can write grants. Well, you know what? This whole building was paid for with a grant. Who wrote that grant? So obviously somebody was writing grants before she came. So that's really all I got to say. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other public comments? Yes.
I'm tall enough.
There's the microphone there.
Am
I think
tall
I
enough?
think they'll hear you.
Okay,
Just
I just want someone to
Your name, ma'am?
justify, Mary Drums,
Okay.
someone to justify why the payroll is so high. What is it, almost 3 times more than Edwardsville? 1.4 million versus 700 and some odd thousand dollars. They have a bigger population. They have about the same amount of parcels, so I just don't understand that. If someone could clarify that for me, why? Is it the amount of wages or the amount of employees? It's a ridiculous amount of money. You need to be working for the taxpayers, and that's too much. And sir, I don't know exactly what your position is with the laborers. I think you're the boss. But I do agree with Mr. Ostrowski, you either need to make a decision to resign or get out of the negotiation. That's all I have.
Yes, sir.
So was you gonna resign? May I speak?
Yes, you can talk from there, Ron, can you make it up here, or? It's all right, you're loud,
Mark got here a little bit late, so I missed part of it, but I've heard Mr. Strauskis and this lady talk about, why our taxes or the payroll so much higher, and that's a good point, people are gonna ask, but, so if the board can put together, you know, how many miles of road this Council Township have as compared to the others, I just can't sit here and, you know, say, oh, we got 3 times as much, let's compare apples to apples, okay? So how many miles of road, how many buildings do we have, how many programs do we have here that maybe the others don't have? Those are the things, and you're not gonna be able to do it overnight, but you need to put together a comprehensive list to explain, this is what we spend our money on, this is why it's that. If the taxpayers don't want it, then it's fine. Tell us which one of these things you want us to cut out. Okay, you want us to get rid of the senior center? You want us to not take care of the roads anymore? What is it? You know, I'm not saying that that would be the thing, but, so that you do have a true comparison of apples to apples. As far as the contract negotiations go, who is on the committee to represent? Just, it amazes me that it's not the whole board, or the, at least Terry and the trustees, the 5 of you, and as the negotiating committee on behalf of the township. I think that's, any negotiation I've been in, it hasn't been just one person for either side, okay? I would think that if you had the 5 of you there, then one, Mr. Royer could stay, because it'd be open, well, you had your say. He could be there to, give his opinions, and on behalf of the township, you're gonna have the rest of the trustees there to be able to see whether or not he's staying in line. What? You think Derek won't?
Point of order.
Derek wouldn't, did a heartbeat?
Derek be perfect.
Yeah. Only one person can talk.
Alright.
Yeah.
So anyhow, you have that. Worst case scenario is fine. He sits, participates in it, but he doesn't vote. You know, you still have the other 5 of you, or the other 4. But I think it should be a committee and not just one individual. So, anyway, that's the only comments I have right now.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
We'll make it short this evening. My name is Dave Keogh, I live at 14 Briarcliff. Some of my main concerns is first of all, I understand that the reason they decided to go union because there was no platform in place for the ladies in the office to get an annual raise or raise upon performance. We all get raises when we get performance. When we do our job right and well, we deserve a raise, and so do they. So if bylaws, and like that gentleman said, if it's not put in place where they can actually get a raise, yeah, they're gonna do something to get their money, because you know what, they're at work every day. They do their job the same as we do it. Why do they have to go to the extreme to join the union to get a raise? Each and everybody in here, if you work hard, you deserve a raise, and so do they. So I think the ball's been dropped as far as platform and how things go together, and how this is all, basically ran. Okay? And what the other gentleman said, yeah, if you get a director comes in and you give her a $10,000 hike, you're gonna piss a few ladies off. I'm sorry, but you are. Okay? As far as the negotiations go, let me just say it's best if everything is out in the open. Because when you start sweeping things under the carpet or putting things in closed session, it makes you look guilty. It makes you look like you're hiding something from the taxpayers. Okay? And again, the money difference between us and Edwardsville is ridiculous. Very unnecessary. Now, we may have more roads. Okay? But it's the board's job to give us that information. So if we have to take a month and we have to hire somebody, or if we have to take some time out of our busy schedules, let's find out exactly how much road difference there is, how many businesses that we have. Okay, because I can tell you right now, I've seen Edwardsville School, I've seen Collinsville School. See the difference in high school? Sorry, that ain't $500,000, I can tell you. So, everything needs to be in the open. And we, like he says, we need apples to apples. If there's 1 million miles of road in Townsville and there's only 500,000 in Edwardsville, okay, well, there's your difference. Okay? But the more out in the open and the more people know, the more they're going to trust you. If you got to go in a closed session every 5 minutes, what are you hiding? All I'm saying is be honest with the people. It's their money. You work for them. Give them what they deserve. That's all I got to say.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
What would be the reason for closed session?
Oh, you gotta go to the podium first, young man.
Sure, back here, boy. Nice talk. What's the reason for closed session?
Announce your name first.
Tom Neal. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Closed session. Why? Are we hiding something? That's the only reason I could ever see. I think he would agree with that. Probably everybody here would agree with that. You guys, man, you ain't doing right by us.
Every township does it.
Huh?
Every township does it.
We ain't worried about every township, though.
Well, I'm just...
We're here. That's what I say. Why do you do it? What is the reason for that?
Because whether you're gonna stay with the program or not, that's the beginning of it. Of anything you're doing.
I'm missing your point here.
Like, if somebody wants something from us, either they
That ain't
can...
what we're talking about, you guys deciding this, like with the
No,
laborers?
we don't decide it in a closed meeting, no.
For the laborers, for everybody in the township to be in the laborers local, that was done in the open?
This is our attorney here.
Yeah.
So the decision to become organized was a decision that the employees...
No, closed session. Let's start with that, and then we're going.
So you have to...
Wait now.
Yeah.
What's going on is, the way we've been running the meeting is, everybody speaks, and then we'll try to answer your questions, to keep it orderly. That's why we're kind of staying quiet. We're not trying to ignore you.
No, I mean, just...
So that's why I'm just telling you, the process, we're gonna wait until everybody speaks, and then we'll try to answer your questions.
Okay.
That's all he's trying to say, I think.
If you look at the agenda, Tom, it says public comment. When you comment, and then if there's questions in that, we try to answer them if we can.
Yeah, we're not ignoring you. We're gonna answer right when everybody's done.
No, I wasn't referring to that, I was just, we live here to pay you guys, why shouldn't we know everything you're doing? Even, you know, whatever it might be, we should know, this place should be full, and it probably will be here in the next 3 or 4 sessions, we'll have this place pretty full. Everybody taxpayers, you know how happy they're gonna be? Encourage, I mean, you guys done it to yourself, you know, I mean, I understand, them people should have had pay raises, all the secretaries always get overlooked, you know, that kind of stuff. They do a job, I don't know that it's worth labor pay and the insurance they had, but, hey, it's still on my dime. You're dying, you live here. Everybody else, if we want to donate, that's all well and fine, but it's gonna put us out of business.
Is that all,
This is
is that all you have, sir?
No, I can stand here for a minute. If you're gonna run it like you don't care, it's gonna go broke. I've been in my own business for over 30 years, had 4 or 5 different kinds. You can't waste money. This is not a bottomless pit that you guys are working from. That big old water park down there, that brought $4,000 in scrap because you guys put that in there and couldn't afford it. I mean, the stuff you're doing here is kind of ridiculous, really, isn't it?
Did you hear him say we didn't do that?
Huh?
That was the township, it was on the township government.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. This is my first trip here, honey. I'm sorry. But anyway, closed session is really what I stopped for, or come up here for.
Well, thank you.
There's always a reason why somebody's hiding when they go to closed session. Isn't that true?
No, sir.
I didn't know. Can we go to open session all the time? That would be nice. Then we could believe in you. I mean, anybody hiding behind the corner is generally doing something. I don't know. Like I say, this is my first trip here. I kinda like it here. I'll be back and a whole bunch of other people gonna follow me.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comments?
Excuse me?
No, anybody else?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, I'm glad that we're down here also. If it wasn't, my name's Al Woolen, 868 Lester, Collinsville, Illinois. If it wasn't for some of the trustees, we wouldn't be here tonight. We would still be at the little room that we always have our meetings at, that you guys have your meetings at. So I want to thank all the trustees that voted on that, to come down here and do that. Number 2, Trustee Cox. He wrote, I forgot to bring my literature in, what he passed out last month, or 2 weeks ago, about the foremans on the township road commissioner, about the $1.4 million that he said that was out there. The articles that he put out is all false. I don't know where he got all that information from. They had only 7 laborers on the township road commissioner. They have an assistant foreman. That assistant foreman takes care of the mowing and service. 3 pickups. They have 1 regular foreman that takes care of all the roads and projects. They have 1 office worker that works in the office. They have 3 seasonal workers that are part-time. He didn't put that down. I'd like to know why he didn't put that down. He just said 13, 15 laborers on the staff and how much money they made. You got the copy?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And then, Collinsville Township does 49 miles of road work. That's more than Jarvis and Edwardsville combined put together. He didn't mention that. That's more money that we have to spend. He didn't mention that. I don't know why he doesn't mention the truth on everything. He does not mention the truth and honesty of a trustee in Collinsville Township. He does not do the truth. I don't know if he knows the truth. About the unions, there are closed sessions on unions. But I don't know why they all can't get together and pass this. I don't understand that at all. They had 2 closed sessions the last month. Why hasn't it been done? What is wrong? Some of the people say there's something in here that's fishy. Something that must be fishy. You can't pass in 2 closed sessions. It should only be done in 1 closed session. Is for a union or not for a union? The office workers in here, we had a gentleman step up 2 weeks ago and said that they're not going to pull wire through the walls or drive a semi-tractor or trailer through the city of Collinsville. That is not what our secretaries do. There's probably 98% of the people here in Collinsville does not know what the Collinsville Township does for these people. Bill should know, when people are down now and he rents to people, they come to Collinsville Township for help. Collinsville Township writes a check for those people to pay the rent to Bill. I've never seen Bill come by here and say, oh, thank you, here's the check back, when he's worried about the taxes. He's receiving the money for his rent. I don't understand that either. Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, we'll move on. The reports by the officers, committees, or special committees. Anybody have a report tonight?
I'll start.
Yes, sir.
I'll start with, your stepdad, Al.
My name's Al Woolen.
I forgot your name. Sorry, I can't remember.
You heard me
everybody's name.
announce that.
Hey.
I'm not
hey,
nobody's
hey,
step.
Sometimes, your dad, okay, whatever. So sometimes.
I am a taxpayer and I go by Mr. Woolen.
Mr. Woolen.
Not step, whatever. If you wanna go somewhere,
His
I can
name
bring
is-
that up next
I
month.
thought
about
his
you,
name was
okay?
Roy.
I can bring that up about you next month.
Okay, let's move on.
Calm down, move on.
Yeah.
Listen.
So,
What was you gonna say?
well, I'm gonna try to answer everybody's questions, starting with him, because he's saying that everything that I presented was false, okay? And so, first of all, I sent it FOIA's, it's Freedom of Information Act, all right? And everybody's saying, I would think everybody wants to know, how do we compare with Edwardsville? How do we compare with Wood River and Jarvis Township? How do we compare, all right? That's all I was trying to do, because as this board, and that's the email that I sent to our attorney, and he agreed. He said, you did a good job. We needed this in negotiation. If any of you guys run a business, how can you ever, you gotta know where you compare with other businesses, all right? And if you're gonna give somebody pay, you gotta know, well, what are they making across the street, all right? It has to be fair. That's why I was elected, is to stand up for the taxpayers. I want what's fair for everybody. And so, when you said everything that I presented was false, I sent, and I have all the email information in here, I sent the FOIA request to Vicki, all right, and to all the townships. I got Edwardsville's back right away, Jarvis's came back, and then Wood River never did come back because she said she was busy with family stuff. Collinsville's I got the afternoon of the meeting. I was putting together, what I did is I took all the bills from all of our employees, I times it by 26 because we get paid every 2 weeks, and that's what I came up with, sir. So if there's a mistake in there, which Kathy said that I did have one too many, that's what she told me. Listen, there can be a mistake, and even on my graph, it said 1.3 million, and it should have said 1.4 whatever million. The point is not everything is false. With the information that I got from the other townships, that's what they provided me. I can't, unless you want me to go audit their books, that's what they provided me, that's what I provided to the board. As a generosity, I put it on the thing, and anybody at that meeting could look at it. It's freedom of information, okay? Let me go back to the first question. The hiring practices. I sent an email to our office manager last week, and I said I would like, because it's on the agenda tonight, I was told that we have already in place hiring practices. I said I would like to have that information so I can look over it and you know, we can talk about it. If you don't want to provide it, then maybe you can show it at the meeting in front of everybody. So that's coming up on our agenda. I'm hoping that they're ready to show everybody. The senior center, why did we start a union? I believe Robert asked that. Why did they start a union? Because the senior center director was paid, the senior center director got a raise, okay? When I got elected 2 years ago, to me, this is just me personally, the senior center is the most important thing that this township does. It deals with people that are often forgotten in society, seniors, and people like my grandpa, and I'm sure, you know, we have board members that have people. So the point is, he was getting paid $23,000 a year, coming in here at 7:30 a.m., doing everything, all right? The office employees were getting $30,000. That was our first thing as a board, and we talked amongst our, like, this needs a raise, and if we're gonna, and he resigned. If we're gonna need to hire somebody, who in the world's gonna come in here and help seniors for $23,000 a year? There's no way. That needed a raise, and I was proud to push for that, and I'm glad that this board went along with that. So I'm very proud to give that a raise. That doesn't mean if you give one person a raise that was getting $20,000, that the person getting $50,000 deserves a big raise too. That's not how it works, all right? And so the reason they started the union, I don't know, and I've stated every single meeting that I am not against unions. I was the shop steward on my union, all right? If I was in their shoes, I'd ask for a big raise too. And I've never begrudged anybody like you suggested last time, and this board hasn't. We're fine with doing unions, but like another gentleman said, and Mary Drum said as well, why do we have to do it in closed session, all right? If the union, like Phyllis Roskis had said, the union goes back and says, okay, they're going to give us $14 an hour, what, you know, and then they all vote, no, we want 16. Why can't the taxpayers have the same right to know, hey, here's what we're going to do, you know, and that's all I was always pushing for. I know I'm probably forgetting some, and I'm trying to get to everybody, but it was brought up, and it wasn't in the minutes, about you resigning. Neil, what's that? Okay, I tried to write this. So, Mead addressed about that it's okay for you to be on the board, all right? And other people have said there's a conflict. I got to be honest, I'm at a conflict as well, because I know some people in this room, and I think you know me. I'm a nice guy. I'm not made for this, to be mean to somebody, all right? And I've told you that on text messages. I do not want to make this personal. But I also have an obligation to the taxpayers. And when there's a law that was sent out by our lawyer stating that we have a problem here, I don't know if you want to go up to Springfield and tell them that you don't like the law, but that's the law. And as a elected, that's what I promised, so I don't know what to do.
I'm unaware of that law, so what is the law?
I have it here. If you want me to read it, I can, or the attorney can do it. My point is, I don't want to be mean.
You could just
Read it.
the number.
Oh, I'll read it.
You can look it up.
I mean, if you can't, then that's one thing. I was unaware of that.
All right, this was the email sent by our attorney, correct? And it said specific, I can read that email as well.
Just a minute,
Yeah, if you can read the email, because the way you described it right now, I'm not sure I'm with you, but I would prefer if you're gonna read the email, read the whole email.
Okay. Let me find the email here. Okay, I'll read from what actually, let's take a break. Mike's gonna step away, and then we'll. I'm just trying to answer everybody's questions, and I hate that it has to be like this. I want it to be open. And I want the best for the Council Township, and we'll get back to this for a second too. On the roads thing, all right? I did not get, Al said that we have more road miles than Edwardsville and Jarvis. That is true. That is absolutely true, and I don't have the information yet. this board, why do I have to be the only one that provides this? But I can tell you this, on the assessor's office, all right, we had almost the exact amount of same parcels that we assess and Edwardsville assesses, and we spend 3 times as much, around, approximately, all right? Now, the roads is a different story. I don't know per mile what we spend yet. I'll work on it. And like somebody said, I can't do it overnight, but I will work on it, because I can tell you this, the Council Township Roads Department does an excellent job. I have never talked to a single person in the township that said, we got crappy roads, or they don't do their job. Everybody does their job, and that's why I have never questioned any of their bills or what they do. They run a fine program down there, all right? And so, I'm trying to be straight up, and if I mess up on something, then I made a mistake. I never try to do it on purpose.
While we're in a break, I'm relatively sure that Edwardsville Township, puts out a lot of their work to the county.
Yeah, and that's something we'll have to figure out.
So,
As far as if that's cheaper too. Is that cheaper? Obviously it is. Okay, so the email that I sent, be open. All right, I sent this to our attorney. I strongly believe the entire negotiations have been tainted. It is clear to me that Brandon violated the negotiating part of the law that you sent over. I don't want to get anyone into trouble, but I also feel it is my duty, and I promised voters that I would stick up for them and be transparent. I believe that township employees need to either choose a different union that Brandon is not a part of, or that he's not a part of that union anymore. You can't start negotiations over from scratch. Please let me know your feelings. I'm curious how things are going, and I'll leave the last part out for negotiating purposes. It was just a little line, unless...
I thought he was asking for the email that I sent.
Hold on, let me see if I can...
yeah.
I can find that. Hold on, let's see. Didn't...
Come on.
Let's see. I have the part that you said to read. I have that part right here. The you said to read. You sent an email out. Can I generalize it unless I can try to find it? My phone's out there.
So, what I sent you was an email that described various ethics ordinances, laws, things that may constrain an elected or an appointed official.
Absolutely.
I had made no comment on what it applied to, who it applied to.
You didn't.
I just said that if anyone has any concerns or questions, they can consult with me generally, but if they have questions about themselves specifically, they should seek private counsel.
Independent counsel.
Right.
Correct. And you said to check out the negotiations part of the rules, because the rules are like 11 pages long. Is that what you said?
Right, and they're long and they're technical.
Right, they're long and technical. So I checked out the negotiation part of the rules. So we can figure out what we're talking about. But I agree. There's, so here's the rule. It is unlawful for any person employed in or on a continual contractual relationship with any of the officers or agencies of state government to participate in contract negotiations on behalf of that office or agency with any firm, partnership, association, or corporation with whom that person has a contract for future employment or is negotiating concerning possible future employment. Any persons convicted of a violation of this section is guilty of a business offense and shall be fined not less than $1,000 or not more than $5,000. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble.
He didn't do anything, though. He hasn't voted.
I haven't been in on negotiations.
All right, here's the problem, that you were in closed session. We're talking about closed session. That's why I was for open session, all right?
I said in one closed session,
That's right.
and I made a
So
mistake.
you were...
Like you just said earlier, you made a mistake.
Mhm.
We all make mistakes. We're
Yeah.
learning here. We're trying to help.
Absolutely, and I don't think you did it on purpose.
And so then the next time, I said, okay, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I sat out from it. I have never been in any negotiations between you guys and the union.
But when we're talking about what we're gonna come down to...
I just said I was in closed session that one time. I have never been in negotiations, and negotiations between you and the union. I have never been there.
Okay, so the way I perceived it is when we go to closed session to talk about what we're going to, just hear me out and understand where I'm coming from. So we're saying, okay, I'm just gonna use generic numbers. She wants 50,000 and she's getting 30,000 right now. I tell you what, I'll go to this number, but no more, all right? How do we know, and the reason that I'm guessing that this law is in place, that you don't roll back because you're the boss for that union and say, hey, they'll go to this number, but they're not gonna go to any more. That's not fair to the taxpayers. We want the best negotiation possible, and that's the only reason.
Whatever said in closed session is not, it's illegal to leak it out, right?
No, I don't know that at all.
Oh, I thought.
No,
Maybe
and
I-
so
maybe
you
I'm
can
wrong.
go back, you can.
I thought it was, maybe I'm wrong.
So you can, so what I'm saying is, do you understand that you could go back to your union boss, or whoever's doing the lawyer for the union and say, hey, they're willing to do this, but they're not gonna do this. And that's what people suspect that could be going on, and that's why they say it stinks. I'm just trying to make it right.
I have been in negotiations. I said it on one
Mhm.
executive session,
Mhm.
and still didn't do nothing illegal, but it probably wasn't the best decision I ever made, and so I'm saying, I'm sorry. Should I have said it in that session? Probably not. Probably not.
You didn't say anything.
Told you so.
Okay,
That's
but,
why you got him.
but it's over. I did it. I said, I'm sorry. He's allowed to say he's sorry, and everybody just wipes his crap under the rug.
The attorney should say he's sorry.
Don't point at me.
So, I did go in executive session. I said, I'm sorry. I have not been in no negotiations.
And so here's my last point on this is,
Public, it don't matter.
I feel, I hope that the citizens understand, it's really up to them. Whatever they wanna do, if not, I'll let this go. I'm fine. My point is, you said you were sorry. I don't think that you need to be in any other closed sessions or negotiations. I do think down the road, it could even possibly be a problem that you're a union manager and you're on the board with the employees that are on that board. That could be a problem. I'm not trying to mess with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to. So it's up to these guys if they want to do something with this or not. And I don't know, what do you guys feel on it?
No. He hasn't done anything wrong. He stayed out of the whole thing. He has nothing to do with these negotiations at all. He sat in on one closed session. He didn't say a word.
Right, and he doesn't have to. Like I said,
It
when
doesn't matter.
we are...
You brought stuff out of a closed session meeting that is against the ethic code.
No.
Yes, you did.
Didn't read it.
Yes, you did. That list, you
Slow down a
showed
little
in closed session, and then you brought it out in open session, and you can't do that, Derek. That's against ethics and statutes.
Mike, you have to bring facts to your argument. You
I
can't just yell
have
and
facts.
scream.
It's a statute.
Okay, well, I'm
Would
waiting
you
for
read
that...
your book?
That statute that says...
Would
that I-
you read your book?
I'm not even gonna argue with you.
Everybody
because
about
you're
done.
stupid. Yeah, so...
It's
yeah.
always by your rules, Derek.
Okay.
Not
I was trying to help
laws
be
and
factual, you just wanna make personal attacks.
No, personal attacks, calling me Pee-wee and Little Bit
Oh,
at the
yeah.
last meeting. Excuse me, personal attacks.
Dan, did you have something? Okay. I think you guys are done here. Dan, you have something else, Mike?
I could go on forever, but he
I
took
wish you
up a
wouldn't.
half hour, so
Okay.
he needs to get his crap together and
What
not
do you want me
pick
to
on
do?
him. This is a good man over here, he's done a good job, hasn't done anything wrong, and people calling for his resignation.
Why not?
Excuse me.
Mike, what have you done? I'm asking, what have you done for the Collinsville Township since you've been here all these years?
Yeah.
What have I done?
Point of order, that's out of order.
Yeah, I know,
Let's move on. Dan, you got something?
I'll back up what Derek said. When we hired a new senior director, we had to hire somebody that was gonna be eligible, qualified, and be able to do what we wanted to do. Al was a great guy, but Al was doing this for something to do. The person that we hired is very qualified, very motivated, and I even had Al tell me 2 weeks ago, he said, watching what she's doing with the senior center, he said, it was time for me to go. Al told me that. And I said, Al, you did the best you could, but we also put some expectations on her when we paid her that extra money, because in order to get her to come here, she she wasn't gonna do it for $23,000 or $24,000. $2,000 a month, I don't think any of you would work for that. I mean, it's barely $11 an hour. So, I'm just gonna concur with that you wanna raise hell with me for giving her that raise, then raise hell with me, and I'm the bad guy, 'cause I did it. Closed sessions are not uncommon. Closed sessions, and I think Mr. Ostrowskis can back me up on this, the city council probably does one almost every week. Whenever you're doing contract negotiations, property issues, personnel matters, you have to do it in closed session. Because if we did the discussion for the salaries that we're talking about, okay, on the ones that, what we're talking about in negotiations, if we brought it back here out in open meeting, you guys couldn't accuse him of doing it, because it would all be out in the open.
That's right.
Okay? That's the whole idea of this. I mean, I don't wanna say it's us against them, but ultimately, we're trying to do the best we can for the taxpayers. If somebody asks what's taking so long, you know what? If we were just gonna give them all $10,000 raises, we'd be done right now. They'd all be happy. But that's not happening. That's as much as I can tell you, okay? We're trying to negotiate a contract. They want $100,000, they make $50,000. We're trying to meet somewhere in the middle financially that's beneficial to the township and not gonna put us in the poorhouse like Tom Neal said. And I totally understand that. But to put it out in the open and discuss it at this meeting, then your argument about Brandon is moot. You can't have it both ways. You don't want Brandon to be in the meeting because you don't want the information going back to the laborers. If we discuss it in an open session at this meeting,
I'll take it right back.
where do you think it's going?
And that's why I wanted it in
There's laborers in
open
the front
session.
row. I mean, for crying out loud. I mean,
That's why I wanted it in open session.
that's not the way it works.
Think about it.
So, let me just, I'm offering this just as a perspective.
Wait.
Of just negotiating. Usually, like when you're buying a car or you're buying a house, you don't walk into the realtor's office or to the dealership and put on your shirt, "This is my top dollar."
That's why I don't want somebody from the union and the boss to
Right,
go back
but
and
but that's why we do it in
That's
closed.
why I don't want them sitting
But
there.
that's the purpose of closed session. That's the purpose of closed session. That's why, because we don't want to broadcast what our top dollar is.
I understand.
So that's the purpose of that. It's not, we're not, if we were to say this, to tell everyone in the world what our top dollar is, we can't say, everybody in the world but the union, don't listen, this is what our top dollar is. We have to negotiate our best price, and the only way for us to get our best price is for the folks we're negotiating with to not know how high we're ready to go.
And you just made the point.
So we can't, that's why we can't do it in open session.
Right.
And I understand that that's frustrating, but there's no way for us, there's no way to have a competitive negotiation where everybody knows what we're gonna do. It puts us at a disadvantage. And it's not that I wanna hide, or these folks wanna hide anything from you. We wanna do right by you. And by the time this is done, when there is a contract, we have to make it available for public inspection before it's done. Nothing about this final contract can be secret by law. We have to show it to you.
And when we're done with that, we go to negotiation.
Well,
Then we're done.
right, and when the contract is complete, and we're getting ready to vote on it, it'll be made available it'll be made available for public inspection at the township offices, okay? I will tell you this, and I won't say anything else, but the laborers negotiator told me something that I said in one of these meetings 3 months ago. He's been back and watched all the meetings. So, he goes, well, you said this in a meeting, and I had to explain to him why, but they're watching these meetings too. So, like our attorney said, we're not trying to hide nothing, we're trying to keep our cards close to our vests for the taxpayers. And there's nothing rotten. Like I said, if there was something rotten, we'd already be settled, and they'd have the best raise in the history of the state of Illinois. But, and that hasn't happened yet. So, other thing I wanted to bring up, the assessor's office and the highway department, The only thing this board controls on the assessor salaries is the levy to pay them on what budget he submits. We have no control over how much the assessor's office makes. We don't decide what their benefits are, and the highway department's the same way. And, just to let you know that, I mean, I know a few people brought up about roads, and Larry Ducato's guys, like I said, it's been said here more than once, they do a great guy, Larry pays them what he thinks they deserve. You got a problem with what the highway department workers make, talk to Larry. You got a problem with what the assessor's office people make, talk to Pete Coletti. Those are the people that make those decisions, not this board.
So how many employees are we talking about that you control?
I'm sorry?
You said you don't have anything to do with the assessor's office.
But,
Three
well,
employees?
two here and three at the office, so five people. Our contract's gonna consist of 5 people for the township. The rest of the salaries are all decided by the assessor's office and the highway department.
By statute. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, and one more thing.
We have nothing to do with that.
Somebody made the comment that these people haven't received a raise. They have received raises the last 2 years. I'll just let you know that. They have received raises. And whoever told you they didn't is not telling the truth. So, my email address is openly available. If you guys want to email me and talk to me, I'm not going to take up no more of your time on this. So, I'm done. Anybody else?
You did mention something about the levy, because I think that might help explain it. And I think that our attorney and I, and all of us, pretty much agree that, so the only thing that we control is the levy and, I guess, the budget. So, the point is, though, if our assessor's office is payroll's $387 and Edwardsville's is $155, we can say, we're gonna drop the levy, or we're gonna drop the budget. That's the point. And you figure out how to get as much out of your employees like Edwardsville does. I'm just saying, that this is a general statement, we'll have to figure out how to do it, but we do control that.
You can't drop the budget, you drop the levy.
Moving on.
I have no more.
Yes. No more? No more. Oh, I thought you said one more.
No, sir.
Okay.
That's bills.
Okay, going to bills, on the general assistance bills for, quiet now, on the general assistance bills for $4,654.64. Motion,
So moved.
second? By Mike. We got a motion and a second. Any questions? If none, roll call.
Trustee Cox?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Aye.
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Trustee Royer?
Yes.
And Supervisor Allen?
Yes. On the road and bridge fund bills for $76,055.13.
So moved.
A motion on the road and bridge, and second. Any questions? If there's no questions, roll call.
Trustee Cox?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Aye.
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Trustee Royer?
Yes.
And Supervisor Allen?
Yes. Moving on to town fund bills. On the town fund bills is $30,777.01.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mike, second by Dan. Is there any questions on it? No questions? If none, roll call.
Trustee Cox?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Aye.
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Trustee Royer?
Yes.
And Supervisor Allen?
Yes. And all the others, there hasn't been no change. Okay? Moving on then. Correspondence.
We did have a late notification, but it's actually a reminder. Everyone, I think, I was out of town, but I think everyone should have received an email about the EDC meeting.
Yes. I got that.
Okay. That's good. And then, oh, I'm sorry, also, and this is on the agenda also, the Christmas at the Collins House, okay? And last but not least, the Council Corral is asking for a donation.
That down the agenda.
Okay. And that's not on there.
It is.
Yes.
Oh, it is?
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
I apologize.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is. Okay, so that's it.
Okay. Anything unfinished business? We have a union contract. I mean, nothing on that.
How is that going?
I have conveyed, the board's position, and, there's, a request to bargain. A date for the bargaining session has not been set.
So for the folks are wondering why it's taking so long, this board has done its part. We're just waiting on them?
Both sides, have taken appropriate times in considering, their respective positions. This is a first contract. First contracts are the hardest ones to get ironed out, because sometimes you're dealing with issues that haven't really been formally dealt with before. First contracts are the hardest. So although this seems like it's going slowly, to me it seems like it's going at an appropriate pace to be done deliberately and correctly. So I don't think that I can say that either side is behaving at that pace.
All right, I agree. I'm just trying to be open and answer some questions as we continue. And we are bargaining for, everything is up for debate, correct? In the negotiations?
No.
Not yet. It's going to be.
So,
Because some people had asked questions like what's on the table, but when we're negotiating everything, correct?
I will respond by saying that I convey to the other party, the positions put forth by this board. This board, and this is to answer, Mr. Dowling's question, this board is negotiating with the labor union. I, and with the help of, Mr. Hopkins, who's also been appointed to, participate in negotiations, we're conveying, the offers back and forth between this board, who is operating as a deliberative and a bargaining party with the labor union.
So we'll wait to hear from them.
So they know our position, and then we are gonna have a sit down and bargain with them. You've appointed Dan and I to go.
Yeah, I just felt it would be better, because I don't feel like I'm that well liked, so I think that you guys will do a good job at it. I trust you, and that's why I nominated you, you know.
Moving on?
Huh? No, not you.
Let's move on.
Not you.
On the on B, the senior center, chairs, we have some chairs. April, you want to speak on that?
Well, we had talked about the possibility of either replacing the chairs, which I didn't think was very cost effective, and I think the board agreed that we can clean them, but in addition to that, there's 95 of them that are in the closet that only get pulled out when we have the prom, and the rest of the time we don't have a large enough population. So we were thinking we could swap out, clean the ones that are in the worst condition, and then bring out the ones that are rarely used to replace some of the ones, because some of the chairs are stained, but some of the metal on the chairs are starting to rust out a little bit. But I think we could probably get a couple more years out of it just because we've got so many that are held in storage.
How many chairs do you think would need cleaning and then they'd be better? How many are we talking about?
Probably 75 of them.
Well, I think we have about 150 that aren't in the closet, but I said for $2 a chair is what, I think we got two different
Oh, I
prices.
thought it was it's $2 a chair?
$2 a chair.
Right.
I say we get them, all the ones that are in use, I say we get them all clean, bring the newer ones out, put them in use, and we'll put the clean ones away, rather than trying to buy new chairs. I'm not, yeah.
You wanna make that motion, or?
Well, I mean, yeah, we can, you go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we clean the ones that need cleaning, so approximately 75.
No, I think about 150, but 120 to 150.
Okay, so we're talking.
If you clean some and not the others, I think you're gonna see a difference.
Well, I like to see.
I don't wanna be the one to determine which ones are dirty and which ones are clean.
Well, we're talking hundreds of dollars here, so I make a motion that we. $240. Right, so I make a motion that we do that.
Right.
Get that done.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any questions?
Okay, did you decide what company you were gonna use? I thought
I'll
you
leave
were
it up to
gonna.
April.
Okay.
We have two bids, I think they're almost identical, so they're both council companies, so. One
That's
company said
nice.
they did them last time,
I was gonna say, there was one that did them last time,
so I think
and
probably
that
stay
was
with them.
that, I think it was Prostein or something like that. I
BioFresh did it last time.
BioFresh, that's it.
BioFresh did it last time.
Yeah, they did it last time, and he was well familiar with what
Have
he
it
was
worked good?
doing. And they looked great, I guess, I mean.
We trust you.
Okay.
Roll call.
Okay, motion on the floor, to have the chairs cleaned, senior center chairs. Trustee Cox?
Yes.
Trustee Foley?
Aye.
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Trustee Royer?
Yes.
And Supervisor Allen?
Aye.
Carried.
In the seniors center microphone and sound system, is it all done now?
Well, it's taken care of. I mean, we don't need to take any action on that.
Okay.
We're waiting for the bid.
I went and bought a new microphone for the one out here that wasn't working good. We're okay for right now, but we're good. So, I bought it, but I paid for it.
Thank you, sir.
I didn't charge it.
Yeah, I came in here and then it was there, and
Yeah,
it's,
it works.
Okay, under new business, the Council Food Pantry Cozy Cafe event, would like a $100 donation. Yeah, yes, yes.
I need
That's
to
Vicki.
track that request, it was sent to us in error.
Oh, was it?
We work with the Township Council Food Pantry every day, all week long.
Okay.
We've got each other's back, they provide us with stuff, we provide them.
I wondered, but
The board was not happy about it being sent to us, the advisory board on the pantry, and they asked for me to come and say, we would like to take it off the table.
all right,
So,
done.
That was a good one.
You got any more of them?
maybe.
Okay. Hiring practices.
I'm curious what, so the email that I sent to Galen and our office manager, since it's been brought up and it's on the agenda, I think the best way to discuss this is if somebody could present the board with our current hiring practices, then perhaps simply explain and answer any questions we may have. I would also be interested in having this material before Tuesday. Thank you.
Okay, and before she starts, I will say, you were all given that information when we started interviewing for, senior directors.
Oh, that would've been lovely just to have that email back. Anyway, so, yeah, just provide it.
Okay, this is the basic Collinsville Township policy. This is a shortcut manual that affects all of the township employees, road and bridge, assessor. This states the vacation time. From, 1 year and 1 week, you get 2 weeks vacation. After 5 years, you get 3 weeks. 10 years, you get 4 weeks. 20 years, you get 5 weeks. 5 weeks is a max.
I don't mean to cut, you have copies.
No, because I didn't make enough copies for everyone because
All right, I'm trying to follow you.
you had already had these presented to you when we put the bid out for the senior center employees.
Well, what I'm saying is, all of it took is a nice email and then attach it or something. I just wanted to have the information.
Yeah, I've been working on payroll since last week.
Okay,
That's
so,
why you got what you got today with the other things crossed
right.
out. Okay, all the employees of the township get 1.5 sick days a month across the board.
On the vacation, does it say in there if it rolls over, or does it stay, or?
It doesn't say in here. I do have this policy manual, which you can come in, and it has everything lined out in it. It's an employee manual that has, the sexual harassment policy, the harassment policy, the cyber liability policy. It has all the policies by law that are required, the discrimination policy. Basically, the first part of this states it is Council Township policy that we will not tolerate or condone discrimination or harassment on the basis of race, color, religion, creed, sex, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, pregnancy, childbirth, medical or common conditions relating to pregnancy, childbirth, genetic, national origin, age, physical or mental disability.
On the agenda, we're talking about hiring practices.
Right.
I'm not talking about like,
And this is part of what's given
Conduct.
as far as employees that are hired. This is the whole packet for employees.
You have that in electronic form?
I can get it, yes.
You have to scan it, I don't want you to have to do that, but is it not scanned in? or-
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, you can send that to all of us, I think
yeah.
both of those documents.
Okay, so basically, the shortcut version, the rest of this is, the sick leave, they can accumulate up to 90 days of sick leave, 45 of which are paid for. The other remainder that they can accumulate with the sick time goes to IMRF as far as buying them an additional
time when they retire if they need it. Each employee of the township gets an hour for lunch, 2 15-minute breaks. Overtime is paid according to 1.5 hours compensation time. Each employee of the township has paid insurance.
I was more just, on the agenda, it's hiring practices.
Okay.
Like, this is all conduct stuff, which I'm very interested in, because we even need it moving forward. So we want that information, and we'll all have a chance to look at it. But I think what had been brought up and what was on the agenda was hiring practices. And I think it's important, especially in this day and age, that we have a specific procedure that we go through.
It's required by law, yes.
Well,
I mean,
and,
this is required by law.
but you can also go a step further. I mean, it was just brought up today that, with the UN ambassador stepped down, so they were thinking about putting in, Donald Trump's, daughter. And they said, oh, that's nepotism. And so, some places have that in place where you can't do that, some places don't. Do we, or don't we? You know, and so it's just good to know what our hiring practices are.
Well, normally, we don't have a big turnover, and I've only worked at this office for 7 years full-time. I've been on the board, I was on the board for
Yeah.
17 years on the payroll. But we never had a major turnover. We never had
No,
anybody
I
quit.
agree, we
Because,
haven't.
you know, I do my job because I like to help people.
Yeah.
Every single day, we're helping
You're good at it.
homeless that walk in the door.
Mhm.
You were there that day,
Absolutely, you're good at it.
and it's really depressing, because all the funding has been cut, and we're down to helping people with LIHEAP right now, but we can't even help half the ones that need it, because the funding's been cut by the government, and it's not there.
By
So,
state and federal.
yeah, both. So, I
But
mean,
what we're talking about is the hiring
I
practices, so.
understand that. So, I don't have a policy that was in place when I came in.
So there is
as
no-
far as a hiring policy. And that is not really part of the board's job. Obviously, what it says in here as far as the trustee's job on the board is trustees are responsible for approving all township expenses and auditing bills submitted for payment by the township clerk. And that's pretty much it. They audit the they do the levy, and they do the audit through the, budget, I'm sorry.
We can put in practices, though, that, you know, that say, hey, we're gonna hire people under these, we're not gonna discriminate, we're not gonna,
We already have that.
and that's what I'm asking for.
That's what I just read.
That's common.
That was the policy.
If you could just send that, and then we could look at it, and then as a board, if we need to revisit it and make our own. Yes.
There's also a note, and it gives the law. Did you happen to bring, there's in your manual, it states that, I was looking at this today because I knew all this was coming up. Townships with 5 or more employees, not counting the officials, the board trustees must adopt and file documents, and they give,
And so have we done that?
but you don't have, you've only really technically got 4.5. So I don't know if
I'm talking
you
about-
come in, I know what you're talking about. You're talking
We have
about
5.
actual practices for hiring, right here.
No, I got it, and so,
I
but,
can give you the Illinois law.
We do have 5. We have 2 here, we have 3 at the office. We have 5.
right. No, so we need to adopt something and file it, it sounds like.
I have a question. You done? You said they can have 720 sick hours, right? Sick hours?
You can
90 days, it'd be 720 hours, correct?
You can accumulate up to 240 for IMRF.
240 days?
Yes.
What's our policy here?
We pay for 45 sick days.
How many can you accumulate?
You can accumulate up to that many for IMRF, but you only get paid for 45.
Okay, let me rephrase that. How many can you accumulate here while you're working? How much are you allowed to have on the books? How
You
much
can
sick leave?
accumulate up to 240 days.
240 days?
Right.
Okay. What about vacation? Doesn't the policy say we can't roll that, you can't carry over vacation? Okay, but what
your salary.
And that's, that you don't get paid for that part though, that goes to IMRF, that is credit with IMRF.
Are we talking about vacation?
I'm talking about the sick time, yes.
Well, they don't get paid for it, but we're writing a check, correct, to IMRF? So it's a liability for us. Yes or no?
Yes, it is, it's included in the IMRF figures,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So did you get your answer, does vacation roll over year after year then, or not?
There was a time when there was not enough employees in certain offices that the vacation just accumulated. And when I started, I had no time to take off for vacation, there was nobody to cover to do my job.
Is there a rule in place right now?
No.
There isn't about
As
vacation?
far as I know, it states in here that, sick leave not used during the year's employee.
Thank you for your patience.